Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. Senior Counsel Douglas Mendes mounted a sweeping attack on the state's national security case against Dominic and Genevieve Hadid on Friday, 17th July 2026. The defense argued that a top secret strategic services agency document, the SSA, that has been controversial for many years now. I believe even the US UNC used to be criticizing the SSA. Not so. Anyhow, I'm not 100% sure about that, but from what I can remember, it definitely was very controversial under the Mighty Morphin Ghanaian Cold Pot Bicycle, No Ham, No Macaroni Pie, PNM. So the defense argued that a top secret strategic services agency document relied upon by the Minister of Homeland Security, officially the worst we've ever had. This man is worse than Hines. And for that to happen, you have to be really terrible at your job, because to be worse than Hines at anything, Hines we're talking about, you really have to be bad at your job. So the defense argued that a top secret strategic services agency document relied upon by the Minister of Homeland Security ultimately identified nothing more sinister than a family security guard and a local charity worker. Those are the individuals that they are alleging that the Hadids were conspiring with to assassinate the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. A guard and a local charity worker. Roger Alexander, you should lose your job over this. That is what should happen. You should lose your job over this. But for some reason, Kamala is under your spell. I don't know what kind of spell you have this woman under, but it seems as though Kamala is under your spell. During the Court of Appeal hearing, Mendes read from the minister's affidavit, which claimed Mrs. Hadid had been in contact with persons who are persons of interest to the state because of their conduct, antecedents, and the risk they pose. Mendes noted his immediate concern, stating, "When I read that, my eyes opened wide. I became very concerned because they are saying she had been in contact with persons of interest. So you're telling me the charity worker and the security guard are persons of interest? We are the criminal records against these individuals, Roger Alexander and Alistair Guevara." However, defense investigations quickly revealed the identities of the redacted contacts. Genevieve had identified Tallman as Mitchell Victor, a licensed security officer. In her affidavit, she explained, "He provides security for my family and drives my children. He is very tall, and I call him Victor or Tallman." Victor filed an affidavit confirming his extensive police vetting, noting the flurry of calls were merely due to a flat tire while on the job. Roger Alexander, that is why the woman was calling Tallman. Hey boy. And you ended up high ranking in the police service. And then people supposed to trust the police service. And then Kamala found for whatever reason this woman had to put you in the position of Minister of Homeland Security. And I said it from the very beginning, Madam Prime Minister, yes, he won a seat for you, and that is wonderful. But do not give him such a significant position in your administration. What on earth was this woman thinking? The second individual, Oliver Alexander, is a retired energy sector employee who contacted Mrs. Hadid regarding a back-to-school charity event. Mendes remarked to the court, "Just Google his name and his information becomes available." Criticizing the state's lack of due diligence, Mendes argued the slightest bit of investigation would have led the minister to realize that these are shadows that the SSA has provided him with information that takes you nowhere. Why is this SSA still in existence after so much of controversy to begin with? Wasn't this the same SSA that had a lot of problems under the PNM people? He further challenged the state's request to maintain the detention orders, arguing the minister was asking the court to make a decision on the basis of no evidence. And sadly, the judges decided to comply. That is what is so disappointing. God have mercy on all you judges who made that decision. Mendes concluded, you simply cannot trust the assessment of risk. You must start with evidence, and that's the thing about it. This is why I cannot understand what those judges did. You realize that there are so many holes in the prosecutors, in the state's information, so much of flaws, so much of discrepancies, and you still went ahead and said, keep these people behind bars. Now, judges, what is wrong with you? My response, how can the masses trust the justice system after being informed by the media that judges were informed about these significant errors or discrepancies? Hopefully it was just errors and it wasn't fabricated, people. Hopefully this was not maliciously done, people. Hopefully. Right. So how can the masses trust the justice system after being informed by the media that judges were informed about these significant errors or discrepancies in the state's so-called intelligence, and yet still ruled that the Hadids must remain in prison? How are you sleeping at night, judges, including, I think, Rajkumar, the man with my last name that I was feeling proud of for a while? But you come and make this kind of decision, boy. How you could make a decision like that? The state is giving you intelligence that isn't intelligent. And you still decided, okay, you know what? Just to be on the safe side, let us keep these people in prison. Yeah? All because we are under an SOE. You know to yourself that if we were not under SOE, these people would have never been behind bars. Eh, boy? My Lord, boy, my Lord. I would also like to know why Kamala continues to allow Roger Alexander to destroy the UNC and our country by extension. What type of spell is our nation's leader under? Kamala, this is not normal, This is not like you. This is not like you. You have never done this in the past. I don't know what type of spell you are under when it pertains to Roger Alexander. I don't know. Something is definitely wrong. And it is sad to see that the UNC membership is allowing this to happen. They are not having an emergency meeting with Prime Minister Kamala and saying, Kamala, you are not seeing that Roger is destroying the party and our country and our administration. You're not seeing that he's undermining it. You're not seeing that we are not going to be able to win an election in 2030 because of this man. And also Alistair Guevara and John Jeremy. You're not seeing that something is wrong, Kamala. What is wrong with you, Prime Minister? What is wrong? What has happened to you? What spell this man put on you?
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Monday, July 20th, 2026. On Monday, July 20th, 2026, Trinidad and Tobago will experience fair to partly cloudy, hazy and occasionally breezy conditions with a high temperature of 28 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius and a low of 24 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. The day's weather will be heavily influenced by a significant concentration of Saharan dust, which will create hazy skies throughout the region. The Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service advises that a high concentration of Saharan dust will be present. Persons with respiratory ailments or sensitivities should take necessary health precautions. Gentle to moderate breezes will blow from the east to southeast at 5 to 40 km per hour with a possibility of occasional strong gusts. High humidity levels fluctuating between 70% to 90% will cause the temperature to feel like 34 degrees Celsius during peak afternoon hours. Seas will remain moderate with open water waves hitting heights of 1.5 to 2.0 meters. Sheltered areas will stay calm near 1.0 meter but may experience brief choppiness if localized gusts occur.
International news now. Israel is turning to influential Haredi ultra-Orthodox rabbis and social media personalities to help combat a growing Iranian campaign to recruit Israeli citizens who want them to commit treason online for espionage and other crimes, according to a report published Saturday by the New York Times. That had to be real radical far-left Israelis to do that, to betray their own country for Iran, though. My goodness, that would belong to the real radical left or the QAnon far right. How would you betray your own country knowing that Iran will destroy it once given the opportunity? My goodness, I'm telling you, we are living in truly the end times. I just don't know how much years again it has. But we are definitely in the end times, boy. Evil, boy, evil. The outreach comes after at least 60 Israeli citizens were indicted on charges of cooperating with Iran in plots targeting Israel's security. Your own country, boy. Your own safety, your own family's safety. Investigators say Iranian handlers have recruited Israelis online to carry out tasks ranging from photographing military bases and other sensitive sites to stockpiling weapons for terrorist attacks. I reported about this some time ago, you know. As well as carrying out arson, assault, and murder plots. I wonder if they are the jihadists, boy. You know, you have jihadists in Israel. Eh? At least 9 of those recruited were from Haredi community, according to the report. So, who are what? Orthodox? But anyhow, nah. But anyway, at least 9 of these recruited were from the Haredi community, according to the report, while many additional investigations remain under court-ordered gag orders. Wow. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Mike Waltz has also rejected New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani's definitely officially the worst mayor in New York's history. Just like how Roger Alexander is the worst Home Minister of National Security we've ever had. Forget about Homeland Security. Kamala only put it as Homeland Security because she tried to follow America. It's national security. He is definitely officially the worst we've ever had. Worse than Heinz, which is hard to do. Right. Well, this mayor of New York right now is definitely the worst. Not even the Democrats like him. I'm talking about certain Democrats. Don't even like him. Because he's a radical jihadist that hates America. The U.S. Ambassador to the United States nations, Mike Waltz, has also rejected New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani's threat to arrest Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during his expected visit for the UN General Assembly, calling it pure political theater. Try it and you'll see what will happen now, Zoran. See if you don't end up being the one getting arrested. Waltz said the United States is not a party to the International Criminal Court and that diplomatic protections and federal law prevent such an arrest. So what Zoran Mamdani is up to? Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, also blasted Mamdani, saying he should focus on addressing rising anti-Semitism and governing New York instead of targeting Israel. But as you think about it, he's pushing anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism in New York instead. Danon said Netanyahu will travel to New York and address the UN General Assembly as planned. And while you are there, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, make it clear to Trump that as long as Israel is attacked by any nation, whether it's Iran, whether it's the Houthis and with the terrorists, the Houthis in Yemen, or the Hezbollahs in Lebanon, you will defend yourself with or without, a matter of fact, not without the permission of the great king of America, Donald Trump. Trump thinks he's the king of Israel. He does a good job. I always say this. He does a good job in America, you know. But he's so obsessed with himself and with power that he thinks as though he can rule all other nations as well. Go after the terrorists. I fully support that. Dismantle the terrorists in Iran. Do that. Don't go after your allies and be trying to bully them and control them and have J.D. Vance as your backup. Pushing a set of propaganda that is spewed by QAnon individuals like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. That all nonsense. Up to now, I haven't heard anything about Trump correcting his vice president for the utter nonsense he said recently about how Israel trying to control America, you know. That is typical nonsense propaganda that is being pushed by QAnons like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. That nonsense needs to stop.
New Yorkers, your mayor is a disgrace and a failure. New York City has long stood as a symbol of freedom and democracy. Until now. New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says he is holding discussions with city lawyers over whether any action could be taken if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visits New York for the UN General Assembly in September. Mamdani told the New York Times he is having an active conversation with the city's law department about the issue, while adding that the city would act only within the law and would not create new legal authority. The mayor repeated his criticism of Netanyahu, saying he believes the prime minister belongs in The Hague, and referenced the International Criminal Court warrant against him.
Look, I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague. He's a war criminal who has been charged by the International Criminal Court. And what you will find is that is an opinion that is held by many purely because of what his actions have wrought over these last many years.
Now, both the United States and Israel have rejected the ICC's jurisdiction and denounced the warrant as politically motivated, maintaining that Israel's military operations in Gaza are conducted in accordance with international law. But Mamdani ignores all of this, continuing to obsessively target Israel. Of course, there is no legal case for him to arrest the prime minister, and he knows this very well. So let's be honest for a moment about this political theater and the blatant hypocrisy here. Mamdani loves to lecture everyone else about justice, human rights, and the rule of law. Yet when it comes to Israel, the world's only Jewish state and the only democracy in the Middle East, he suddenly abandons restraint. He has repeatedly aligned himself with the anti-Israel crowd, refuses to condemn Hamas, a U.S.-designated terrorist organization, and members in his own administration were even caught trying to bolster ties with the Iranian regime, while the United States is at war with them. If he truly believed in consistent accountability, why isn't he calling for the arrest of Iranian regime officials too? I think we all know the answer to this. New Yorkers, your mayor is a disgrace and a failure. He's obsessed with demonizing Israel and promoting anti-Semitism, all while the real issues facing New York, the promises of free transportation, free groceries, all go up in flames. New Yorkers deserve a mayor who will defend Democratic allies, confront anti-Semitism without apology, and lead with a backbone, putting American interest before that of its enemies. Mamdani has shown none of these things.
Bible quote of the day. Psalm 90, 11-13. A prayer for wisdom and God's compassion. If only we knew the power of your anger. Your wrath is as great as the fear that is your due. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Relent, Lord. How long will it be? Have compassion on your servants.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.